To hear more options, press 0.
What are you talking about?
You wouldn't have thought you could get a full frame E-mount lens for under £150, but I'm happy to say those times are slowly changing. Enter the Viltrox FE 35mm f2, the first lens of a company who's better known for producing camera accessories rather than lenses. Welcome back to Byte Review. Let's take a closer look at the Viltrox FE 35. So the thing that really stood out and drew me to this lens was the low price of £119 and the fact that it was pretty fast at f2. That's a wider aperture than the Sony Zeiss 35mm, which is way more expensive, coming in at about 4 or 5 times the cost. However, saying that, this is a full manual lens, so there's no autofocus to speak of here. You'll be as surprised as I was when I unboxed this thing. It's actually a full metal design. The only plastic to speak of here is the mount cover. Even the included lens cap is metal. Because of this, it's actually quite a heavy lens, weighing more than my Sony FE 50mm and my Sigma 19, despite being the smallest of the bunch. Metal doesn't always equal a good build, however, and while the focus ring feels nice and smooth, the aperture ring feels awfully loose, almost like it might fall off. The click between aperture stops is nice and tactile, however, but switching between them just feels a little gross. Speaking of aperture, we top out at f16, which is quite low considering the other lenses out there. That lens cap is a strange design too, with only one release on the side, which makes pulling it off and on really just kind of weird. On a side note, and it might not be important to some, god damn this lens is ugly. Even attached to the camera, it looks like a horrible little pig snout protruding from the camera, and I'm just not a big fan. I just keep reminding myself that it was £119, so we can't have it all. In terms of sharpness and light fall off, you'd be right to assume that it's a little soft in the middle wide open at f2, and there is some heavy vignetting. However, from f4 upwards, things look pretty sharp across the frame, and the vignetting gets a lot better too. It's not going to match up to the sharpness levels of a Sony or a Zeiss lens, but at this price point, that's okay. Bokeh here isn't too bad either. Bokeh balls are rendered rather well and backgrounds have a decent, if not great, blur to them. As always, once you've applied a bit of Lightroom magic, things start to look a lot nicer anyway. Shooting video is more of a main concern to me, so the lack of autofocus didn't bother me massively when I bought this lens. And in terms of video, I'm quite pleased with how the Viltrox performs. The smooth manual focus ring lets you pull focus in accurately as it's not connected to any electronics, so the better you are with your hands, the better you are with the results. And again, once you add a nice grade to the video, you can get some really lovely results from this little lens. Let's round off by saying for the Sony full frame camera system, you're going to find it hard to get a lens at this price unless you go digging through a load of old legacy glass. For £120, the Viltrox might not be the best lens out there, it might not be the sharpest or the best looking, but it still might fill a gap in your collection. And at this price, it's difficult to poke too many holes in it. Thanks for watching this review. I hope it sheds some light on some of the other FE lenses out there. Drop a like if it did, and I will hopefully see you all in the next one.